Trading card games were all the rage a couple months ago as Axie Infinity took over the market and revolutionized the space. However, I feel like nowadays we kind of forget about who made the space and who's been a lot more consistent. Gods Unchained here being one of the trading card games which I believe has performed incredibly well in terms of fostering a community of over 10,000 daily average users in a bear market, as well as the fact that I think their model is going to work pretty good. So as always, my name is Classic Crypto. This is my gaming channel. Feel free to go ahead and like, subscribe if you want to see more gaming content like this one. So here's the deal with Gods Unchained. It's your traditional trading card game. Now, does it look good? Is it made by the game director of Magic the Gathering? Well, the answer to both of those questions is yes. To describe the founding of Gods Unchained, it's very simple. They had a software development team. James was over there, decided he wants to make a product. Robbie goes on there, and then Chris Clay, the game director of Magic the Gathering, joins them and makes the trading card game. Now, in terms of cryptocurrency-based protocols, Gods Unchained has actually moved away from Ethereum Layer 1 and actually gone ahead and gone to Immutable X. Now, Immutable X is one of the emerging blockchain marketplaces out there, and it gained a lot of traction at some point, going to over $8 off their all-time high. Trust me, $8 was a lot back then. So in terms of instant transactions, that's kind of how they work out. I think Gods Unchained is going to be one of those games that is just literally game first and then crypto second. In fact, if you look into the main investment portfolios that you could get into in Gods Unchained, it's literally just going to be those trading card games that we talked about. If you played Magic the Gathering, you're going to know that there's pretty much an arena. You've got energy, you've got your movesets available on what you can do in a certain turn, as well as your whole scenario buffs that you can put on there. Now, it's a pretty simple game if you actually get into it, but in terms of how the play to earn component works on Gods Unchained, it's quite simple. In fact, pretty much in a nutshell, you can get rare cards which you have full ownership of because they're NFTs. You could sell them on the secondary marketplace on the Immutable X, and that's pretty much it. Now, they do have a Gods token that recently came out. So the Gods token here is essentially something that has voting power, it has governance, but for the most part, the main utility on the Gods token at the moment is the fact that you could use the Gods token on top of two cards to fuse them into a stronger card. Now, what do I mean about a stronger card? It's just the rarity. The rarity goes up. Now, they actually did have something recently happen, very important on their roadmap. The fact that they had the Order of the Gods, as they call it, aka they gave people 1 million Gods tokens worth in this active staking drop. Now, you're probably going to ask me, what does active staking mean? Pretty much means that you gotta have your tokens on their stake. You gotta make sure that things are secured on there because Gods isn't really giving an APR right now. They're kind of just offering people based off of fees that they've accrued, and they reward their holders based off of it. You've heard a lot on the channel about this specific model and how I wished more games had it. Gods Unchained's really killing it on here. The main big utility driver here is probably going to be the fact that you can purchase packs from the actual Gods Unchained marketplace. So there are going to be these pack drops that happen all the time. They're collectibles. Keep in mind that Gods Unchained has around 10,000 daily average users at the moment in the bear market. I believe an all-time high somewhere around 20 to 30,000. So definitely has that player base. Came out in 2018. A lot of those packs that were back in 2018 are worth significantly more than they were back in the day. So that is something that you have to bag on if you're in the Gods Unchained ecosystem for that. A lot of mythic decks nowadays are going for around 0.1, 0.2 Ethereum. So the entry price for a decent deck on Gods Unchained is quite small, but the game overall is free to play, and there is some competitive integrity in terms of free to play players being able to compete with pay to win characters. Now, is there obviously better cards out there like Mythic Insanities? Absolutely. And will they have an advantage over someone with the same skill? Yeah, they're going to beat you. But if you guys are that much better, free-to-play decks absolutely can compete. If you actually look at YouTube, and I've actually played with a couple people on Gods Unchained before, you can see that there really is that advocation of just, this should be a crypto game first and then an investment. In fact, if you go to the website right now, you're really not going to see a lot about the investment side of Gods Unchained. Rather, you're just going to see a lot more about the collections, about what you can play, about how you can build decks, mostly just players trying to make an ecosystem up a lot friendlier for Web 2. So I think that's one of the reasons that I think of Gods Unchained as one of the top picks in 2022. And overall, carving the space for Web 2 gamers, that's where it's at. So as always, my name is Classic Crypto. This is my gaming channel. Let me know your thoughts on Gods Unchained. I definitely think there's a future for games like Gods Unchained, especially because of the fact that Gods Unchained is already so established. So as always, feel free to go ahead and like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and as always, stay safe, stay classy, and that's all.